Welcome to Lesson 1.5, Translating Words into Mathematical Symbols. Most of the math you run into in the real world will be a word problem. They aren't going to present themselves as x times 3 equals 5 or anything like that. They're going to be situations that you run into every day, and you need to know how to translate these problems into mathematical symbols and equations and expressions so that you can solve them. Here's an example. You have a cell phone plan that has 0 minutes. Now, if you see, I have some pictures of cell phones. Here is a cell phone you're probably used to. It's got a little pull-out keyboard so you can text and all that good stuff. This over here is what my first cell phone looked like. This is a bag phone. This thing weighed about 50,000 pounds. Not really, I'm exaggerating. But it was very heavy, and you had to lug it around. It was like a briefcase. And there's a big phone, and the rest of this was battery. So someday you'll see those in museums, I'm sure. Anyways, when you make a call, it costs 10 cents per minute. Okay? So one of your calls was $5. How long was the call? Well, you're going to have to learn how to take the key words out of this and turn it into mathematical symbols so that we can come up with a solution. So first, let's look at some of the key vocabulary terms. If you don't have these in your notes, you need to make sure that you get them in your notes. Our vocabulary for 1.5, the first one is translate. Translate is changing words into math symbols. It's just the same thing as if you have someone who speaks a different language and you're translating from Spanish or Dutch or French into English. We are translating from English into math. Okay? So if we have something that says the sum of 6 and a number, well, we would take these words and change them into math symbols. Now, in your previous math courses, you've learned what are the key terms here, what they represent, and this should be review. However, if you don't remember them, I have on my website, and you can ask me in class, I have a Word document that has many of the key terms that you can look at, and it'll help you translate, okay? So make sure you download that if you don't have it. Okay, here it's the sum of 6 and a number. So you would realize when you go to translate it, oh, sum, hey, I know that's a keyword. That's a keyword for plus. And then I have 6 and a number. So that means that it's simply 6 plus n. Okay? That's all that means. And that's translated then, right here. 6 plus n. Okay? Let's go ahead and let's look at the next example we have here. The next example we have is the difference between 5 and a number. Okay, so we have the difference between. So that means subtraction. So we have 5 minus n. Okay, so that's all translate means, is that instead of having words, I'm going to have numbers, variables, and operations. Okay? Alright, let's look at the next vocabulary term. A phrase. A phrase is words translated into expressions. There's no equal sign or inequality symbol. So up here when we have 6 plus n, we have 5 minus n. See, there's no periods at the end. These are just little phrases, the sum of 6 and a number. Okay, those are just phrases. You're not going to have equal signs there or inequalities. Okay, in order to have those are sentences. Sentences are words translated into equations or inequalities. And in addition to this definition, I would make sure I'd say, hey, you know what? A hint for that is the word is. That is an equal sign. Okay? And then the greater than or less than, those are inequalities. So those are the key words that'll tell you if it's a sentence and whether you're going to have an equation or inequality, or if you're just going to have a phrase. All right, let's go on to do a few examples of these. Okay, remember, one key part to this that sometimes gets thrown out the window is that addition and multiplication can be written in any order. So 2 plus 3 and 3 plus 2, same thing. 5 times 10 and 10 times 5, same thing. But subtraction and division, the order makes a difference. So when you're going through and you're translating the phrases, translating the sentences, you need to make sure your subtraction and division, you keep it in the same order, okay? 10 minus 4 is not the same thing as 4 minus 10. So you need to make sure that you keep that in mind. Okay? We are not, another thing is we are not solving for these. A lot of times people want to take it too far, and they want to say, well, what is that number? What is this? What is that? I don't know how to solve these. We're not solving them. We're just translating them, okay? We're going to take little steps, and eventually we'll get to solving them, but that's not what we're doing in this lesson today. So when we have 11 more than a number, first thing I want you to do is look for your key term. Your key term is right here, more than. More than indicates addition. So it's 11 plus n. And that's it. You're not going to solve it. You're not going to figure out what the variable represents. You're just going to leave it right here. 11 plus n. Okay? The next one, a number decreased by 10. So that's a number, it's n, decreased by, that's your key term, that means subtraction, 10. And once again, I said these key terms should be reviewed. If they're not, make sure you see me for the handout, or you can download it on my website. But make sure you get these stored away in your math knowledge in your brain, okay? Now, make sure you know what order to do your subtraction in. A number decreased by 10. Sometimes, if students are having a hard time knowing what goes first, I tell them this. Put in a number. Say, okay, if I have 35 decreased by 10, well, 35 decreased by 10, what would that look like? So sometimes if you fill in a number, that makes it a little easier to see what that would look like translated. Okay? Here we have the difference between 5 and a number. Well, the difference, we've already saw this one before. The difference means subtraction. So the difference between 5 and a number, that's subtraction. Okay, the next one is this right here. I really, really, really want you guys to pay close attention to, because less than can be tricky. Okay? You get in the habit of going in order. Here it's 11 and number, so then you put the operation in the middle. Here it says number and 10, and you put the operation in the middle. And you're going in the order that they show up in the sentence. Well, less than is the tricky one because it actually flips. 8 less than a number is actually going to be a number minus 8. Now, I know a lot of you are probably sitting there going, what? That doesn't make any sense. Well, let's think about it like I said up here. Let's throw a number in. If I say, you know what, 8 less than 20. Well, let's think about this. 8 less than 20. What is 8 less than 20? I'll go ahead and write that down too. 8 less than 20 is 12, right? Okay, so what order is this going to go in? What order? Yeah, 20 minus 8 is what you're going to have to do. Less than, you always flip them around. Okay? Alright, let's go on to a couple more examples here. Here we go. The product of 5 and a number. Product of. Product means what? Multiplication. So all you're going to do is write 5n. Okay? A fourth of a number. What is 1/4? Yeah, it's 1 over 4. Of is multiplication and number. Okay, don't put more into this. Lots of times people overthink it. Don't overthink it. Okay? Of is multiplication. 1/4 times n. Done. Now, the division ones for some reason get tricky. The quotient of a number and 8. Quotient. That's division. So it's a quotient. That's a number divided by 8. And we're not going to write these little division signs like this anymore. Okay? Since we're in high school now, we're going to be writing our division as fractions. So we're going to write n divided by 8 just like this. It's a quotient of a number and 8 is just like this. Okay? And the next one is 7 divided by a number. So they tell you, hey, this is division. Okay, so I'm going to have 7 divided by a number. Alright, well, let's take a little break here. And when we get back, these were all phrases. We're going to jump into the sentences. Okay, so go ahead and take a little break, stretch your legs, and come back and watch video 2. Thank you.